Hi, this is Barry Anderson from the Trade Ideas Live Trading Room. It is Thursday, April the 17th. This is the address to get into the room, and you can log in with your Facebook or your Twitter account. Well, I'm actually only going to go over one trade today. I did take three others that I posted in the room, but they weren't really that interesting, to be honest. A couple of small wins and one small loss. But this is really the one that I was waiting for because, and I was kind of worried because, every day I like to have some trade that works out reasonably well. And I have another video that I do on Tumblr called the Trade of the Day. And at this point, I really didn't have one, and it took until 12:45 before I found this one. Now, PCRX, we had noticed it in the pre-market. It had the words you never want to hear. They received a subpoena from the Justice Department and basically for access to documents pertaining to the marketing and promotional practices for its flagship pain medication, Exparel. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So because of that, the stock was way down. It's still down $8. It has rallied off the low here, but it is still down $8. So this is certainly, obviously, one that we were watching and trying to, find a potential reversal on. So here's where the market opened. Here's the opening candle, and it had an initial pop, but look at all these tails and hanging tails and topping tails. Came down again, popped back up, but this candle right here is way too big for me to get in. This is like what is it, 84.58 up to 85.45, so almost $1. So for me there was no entry. Perhaps right there. And, in retrospect, I suppose I could have taken a trade right there and maybe 85.64 and maybe wrote it up to almost a dollar there. But, I didn't get into it. And then it started sliding, and then a really nasty slide all the way down here. And this has actually showed up now on my bouncers list too at 81.90. So 8190 is about right there. Or sorry, it's about right there. And then it continued down. Now, this is what I said in the room. This was my big clue that perhaps the selling was over for a while anyway. These are 5-minute candles, and notice this big tail, hanging tail right here. So when I see this, that to me means that finally the buyers have taken over. The sellers drove it all the way down here, and then the buyers took over, and they drove it all the way back up, almost so that it closed it closed above the open on the 5-minute candle. But that's not good enough, of course. I had to next see this next candle to make sure that it was going to be green too. And the bonus was that it was also just over the whole number. This is, I actually ended up taking the trade at 81.19. So this was just over 81. Now, this was not easy. I took the trade at 81.19. It popped up and then started coming down, and I exited really quickly. Part of my position at 81.56. Obviously very worried that this would continue again, and so that's why. So I locked in a little bit of profit there. Because of that, I was able to withstand. It went all the way back down to my buy. And I was almost going to get out of it, but I did hold on, and luckily I did, because then on the next candle, it just really popped up higher, and I sold some at 82.21, which is like $1 from my buy, and 82.40, which was $1.21 from my buy. So very nice quick trade. I calculated it's about 17 minutes that I was in and out of this. And then look what happened right after that. Now it did pop all the way back. It came back, but pretty erratic right now. And so even though, yes, I wish I had been able to hold, especially on this spike up here. I don't know what that's all about. It would have been great to have been able to hold on to it. You never know. This action right here could have just drifted it all the way down again, and it would have been really not great psychologically to give up all your profit if it had popped back down through your buy price. So that's why I did what I did, very quick. And but it took a long time before I could find a trade like this that actually worked. The only other one I'll talk about briefly is NQ. NQ, you see, this came on my huge volume alert, and it didn't work. It almost worked. I got into the trade at 435. It did pop up to 442, not that much higher. Looked like it wanted to really keep going, but it just didn't, and I exited right here. And it's just kind of I don't know what the news was, not a clue what the news was, but a little disappointing that there wasn't any follow through at all on this because it only went from 417 up to 436. I mean, on a percentage basis, that's fairly significant. But we've seen moves like this that will have several more 5-minute candles. I was hoping that it would even try to test $5, but it just didn't happen on that one. So that's it. Now I'm off tomorrow being Friday, and I'm back in the office on April the 20th, the Boston Marathon Day. And so we will see you then. Let me just bring back the cover page. The room will be open tomorrow. I will not be in it, but the room will be open, so you can still log in with your Facebook or your Twitter account. And but I will see you back in the room on Monday. Thanks for listening.